Hi, everyone. Have you ever been fearful around rising your prices for your online courses? Feeling that you are not good enough will immediately place an invisible ceiling that can be quite difficult to break through regarding pricing. So you may be keeping your prices low, hoping that you gain more clients, and then eventually you start getting caught up in the discounting war with your competitors. Now, this is a deep issue that I'm talking about today, but it's an important one for you to understand what's happening at an unconscious level. You know, we are tested all the time from ourselves and from others around our own self-worth, and you may not even be aware of it. This reminds me of a time when I started to step in my own personal power around my own self-worth. I was contracted to an RTO to do some leadership programs and coaching for them. And they asked me how much my daily rate was. And of course, I knew the power of negotiation, so I came in at a high rate. We negotiated a fee which was reasonable, and I started working for this RTO. The operations manager came to me and had a bit of a conversation with me, letting me know that I was the highest paid contractor that they had employed. Then she continued the conversation to say that the other contractors, the other contracts would actually drop their fee if they had less than 5 participants show up in the training programs. At this time, their marketing team was struggling to get numbers within their programs. And of course, she asked me as well, would I be prepared to drop my rate if there was less than 5 people within the class? This was an important response for me to make. So I've learned how I operate and how I think. And of course, I said, let me think about this and I'll get back to you by the end of the day. So during the day, when I had some time off, I grabbed out my pad and I started writing down all the value that I bring to the company. You know, not only am I a good facilitator and coach and trainer with over 20 years of experience doing that work, I also was very professional, and I would update all of their material and all their graphics and everything else as well, and add in more material that was more up to date as well. So I spent a lot of time before I even presented the programs to ensure that I knew the content, and also to ensure that the class members had a good experience during the training as well. And I wrote all this down, and I sat back and I looked at it, and I thought to myself, why would I actually negotiate a lower rate if there's less people there? Because I still have to put in the same amount of effort. And it's not my responsibility to enroll participants into the program. I took a moment and I wrote an email and I outlined all the points. It was a lengthy email as well, showing all the value that I was bringing to the company and that I would not negotiate. And I hit the send button, and in that moment, I felt anxiety. I felt uncomfortable, as I really needed to have this part-time work, as my business was struggling, and I just recovered from 2 years of cancer treatment and depression. So I needed the work, but I also just took a stance, and I thought, well, I need to take a stance in my life and get paid for what I'm worth. It was a risk. A few days later, the operations manager came back to me and accepted my conditions. Nothing changed. And in fact, I even gained more work over the following 6 months, and I was giving more work than the other contractors were given as well. So sometimes you have to make a stance. And when you make a stance, there's a willingness also to walk away if necessary as well. It could have gone pear-shaped for me, and I may have had to walk away, but God, it felt good. It felt so good to actually stand in my own power and actually say what I am's worth. And that moment, I think, was a turning point for me. And I do this often today in business as well. I get lots of people, organizations who reach out to me, ask me to do one-day trainings for them and everything else as well. And they expect me to do it at a low rate and also develop all the material as well. And of course, I say no. And the reason why I say no is it takes me away from the things that I love doing in my business. And it also increases my own self-worth as well. So if you're feeling anxiety as a business owner to raise your pricing for your courses, stop and really think about your self-worth. Now, creating change and developing a different mindset, it's not always comfortable in doing that. Sometimes you've got to go through growing pains, as we call it, and you may feel uncomfortable, but the courageous people, the people who do take a stance, reap the rewards as well. So if you've got an invisible ceiling and you need to increase your prices, do that. Know your self-worth. And once you start doing that, then you will start to feel more empowerment as well. And your business will start to thrive as well. These are the type of conversations, along with the proven strategies, that I'll be talking with a small group of course creators next year. The program is Get It Launched. It's a coaching and support program. It's being released at the beginning of January. The link is above me. If you're looking for support and you're wanting for accountability and you're wanting to launch and set your date to launch, I look forward to